I'm going to show you 9 things I can't live without in my crafting studio this week on Tabletop Witchcraft. Hey there, and welcome back to Tabletop Witchcraft. This week, I'm going to show you 9 things that I can't live without in my studio when I'm crafting. They're items that I pretty much use on every single craft when I'm down here working. We're going to jump right into that. I'm going to show you all those, but don't worry, I'm still going to get 1, maybe 2 crafts in this video. Things that I want to secure and something I've been wanting to make to assist me in my crafting. I'm going to show you how to make that in just a few minutes. Real quick, into the AM, TWC10 at checkout gets you 10% off your entire order when you check out. A little kickback comes to me and helps out the channel. Alright, let's jump right into this week's video. So, I originally was going to do a different craft, not this one for my next video coming out, but I had just wrapped up my greenhouse I did as my addition to my haunted house, and before I jumped into my next one, I want to improve on and build a couple of things that I know are going to make it easier for me when I decide to come down to the studio and craft. So, without any more waiting, I'm going to show you a couple items. The first one I want to show here is something that I've made quite a while ago, and it's a hot glue gun stand. Now, a lot of the things in this video are either free or pretty close to free when it comes to making them. Some things you got to pay for, but I tried to keep things, with items I found around the house, things I wasn't using anymore. What sparked my desire to build this thing was destroying my cutting mat. You'd be working on something and all of a sudden you need to hit some hot glue on a piece, and you take it and you don't think and you put your hot glue gun down on your cutting mat, and now it's destroyed because that heat very quickly will warp the mat. And it's not destroyed, you can still cut on it, but now it's got a big bubble on it and it's absolutely annoying, at least for me, when I'm crafting. So how did I solve that problem? I took a little piece of 2x4 and probably an 1.5-inch drill bit, drill the hole out at an angle, and with that angle I can then insert I believe again, 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches PVC pipe. This is going to depend on the size of the hot glue gun that you have. And it sits in, let me pull these out real quick. This sits in now at an angle in the holder. So it very nicely holds your hot glue gun. So when you're done working on glue, stick it in there real quick and it's off your table. As an added bonus, I drilled a couple of small holes in here just to have a quick recharge of my hot glue when I'm working on it, so I don't have to reach up top where I keep all my glue up there. So I've got a really nice hot glue gun holder. And the neat thing about this is after everything cools, this little container, you can see it's got all these little wisps on it. You can clean it up, but this comes apart, and in the bottom there, a lot of the stuff is stuck on here. But I got a big wad of, well, these guys, hot glue gun little driplets, I guess if you want to call them. And those are awesome because you could actually craft with those, all kinds of uses for them. So I need to clean this thing out, but that is the first item I wanted to show you. The next item is going to be this caddy that I made. Again, we have all these random little tools that either we buy, we craft, whatever. And you want to customize this. I think I do. I actually sell a set of plans for like $1 or something on a stencil for this exact one. But it's just some maybe 1/2-inch MDF press board, top and bottom, with a couple of pegs to hold the corners up. And then all different holes that I've drilled into this thing that hold everything from my paintbrushes to this guy that I'm going to talk about in a minute. I got a little drill, sander, my X-Acto knives. I got my wire brush, toothbrush, all of my different tweezers and pliers and snips, my Alpha knife. Everything is kept right in here. So that's a really handy tool. I always, when I'm crafting, I might use this as I'm crafting, but this stores all of my stuff that I use on probably 80% of my crafts. What I use during every craft, and you'll see it in almost every one of my videos, is a coffee mug. A Tabletop Witchcraft coffee mug. But you can use obviously any one you want. This houses the items that I use very frequently. So they go from my caddy to my coffee mug, and then from my coffee mug all over the table when I'm working. But this is where I store a lot of my stuff. My tweezers can fit on the outside, so you can get to them easy. You see I have a barbecue skewer that I keep in here that I simply use to hold my tape measure. So you can customize this stuff exactly how you want it. So coffee mug is another really good, important one to use. All right, plastic bins. Let me jump into this one real quick. This is probably the most expensive item that I'm going to talk about today because, again, a lot of this stuff you can either repurpose from around your house or whatever, but I cannot live without these. So let me show you this stack of plastic bins. I am a neat freak, so let's see, moving everything around. Here are my plastic bins. These hold everything. All of my electrical supplies. So many of them that I have 2 sets here just for that. I've got one here for cables for all the different stuff around the studio, which that kind of gets put off to the side. This is my miscellaneous bin. I don't want to tip it too much or there's going to be a catastrophe here, but I've got skewers and cogs and pins and little beads and gems, all kinds of stuff in this. Small items. All right, super important for me. Again, I don't want to dump this one out, but this is all of my Hearst Arts pieces that I haven't used yet. So when I need to cast something for a video, I'll craft like an entire silicone mold and all the extra pieces go in here. But it's great because in the next video that's coming out, I dug into these and I had this stuff, cast already, which is nice. Here's another one of just Hearst Arts. And then on top here is all of my wood skewers, popsicle sticks, and stuff like that. So, it's really impossible to neatly store all this stuff any other way than a bunch of these totes. All right, let's set that aside. Something that I recommend, if you can have it, a lot of people eat. Health and fitness is a big thing for me. So for me, lots of yogurt goes down in my house. I eat it, my kids eat it. At work, I tell everybody at work, save your yogurt containers. I can't tell you how important it is for me to have these containers, repurpose them. You don't have to throw them out. Give them a quick wash, and they're going to last you a long time. And there are times when you can't reuse them, when you're working with resin or something like that. So it's just nice to have a ton of these on hand. They're going everywhere. Let's see what we got next here. My texture tool. All right. I've got a video that talks about a rolling pin that I've done like 3 years ago. Got a lot of funny little B-roll in it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's good for kind of a laugh. But the theory behind making a texture roller out of PVC is the main point of that video. But I show you this tool right here, which is a pencil that has green stuff on both ends. It's then rolled in sand and then super glue placed over that after the green stuff cures. An amazing texture tool for your foam. I've got a blunt end and a sharp pointy end. I use this thing all the time. Can't live without it. Highly recommend making one of those. All right. Okay, so time to do a little crafting. I've got 2 things I want to craft and show you. So we're going to work on that right now in the video. And this is going to be something that I've had for a long time, but I want to modify and make it a little bit better here. So I work with super glue a lot, and I also work with accelerant. Accelerant, that way you can cure the super glue really fast and keep on working. So what I like to use is a yogurt cup inside of this container, and then a separate yogurt cup goes on top at an angle. And now it keeps all of your accelerant. You can spray it in here, but you don't want to coat your entire craft in this stuff. And then you can then use a Q-tip to apply it exactly where you want. This is great because it can be used for accelerant, any type of liquid, powder, you name it. It's going to keep it all pooled up in one area. I use this thing all the time. I really do. I use it a lot. So what we're going to do now is just take a little bit of hot glue, and we're going to mold this aluminum foil to the cup and get it so it's in there nice and sturdy. Hot glue the heck out of it, and we'll have a nice solid piece that's never going to go anywhere. Honestly, I've been using this as is for a couple of years now, but I figured in the video, let me show you a little bit closer shot, and then I'll have something a little bit solid. So we'll go there, and we'll do that next. Okay, so aluminum foil is our friend here, and it's going to very easily allow us to mold this cup to the base that I have. You can probably make this out of 2 yogurt cups by themselves, but I find that this, having it elevated a little bit is nice off the table. And I put hot glue just on the cup and the aluminum foil right here, but I don't actually glue the aluminum foil into the main black cup. That way, if I use pigment powder, I can remove it, throw it out, and insert a brand new one when I go to use some accelerant. I have lots of skewers, lots of pieces of foam that are cut into long strips that, you don't want to throw out, or you're trying to store neatly. Don't be afraid to use foam as a tool to make bins and stuff like that. So I took this clear bin that I wasn't using anymore in my house simply by putting a pink piece of foam in the middle. I didn't even hot glue this. I just stuck it in there, but it's really solid. I can then separate my small skewers from my large skewers. This goes up on my windowsill, and it's amazing, like the little things, right? When you're crafting, to not have to dig through this kind of stuff when you want it. Small skewer, big skewer, whatever, it's there. It's nice to have. All right, now the final craft that I want to show you is this guy, and it's just a block of foam, but it's really what is holding, it's being held in place is the scalpel knife here. This is different than an X-Acto. It is extremely sharp. It's nice because it's flat, so it's not going to roll around on you on the table, but it's amazing for carving circular or round pieces of the foam. This you can just pull nice and straight and smooth, get amazing, accurate cuts. But I don't like having it, because it's so sharp, just resting on the counter. So I made this little piece of foam that it sits in, but this makes me nervous because of this little lip right here. If you hit it by accident, it's gonna come flying out. So we're gonna make a little XPS foam holder for this that's gonna have magnets in it that this and even my X-Actos can fit to. We're gonna put some little spaces in there that your fingers can get in and grab the item out. It's gonna be a nice little setup when we're done. Again, this will just be used for when I'm crafting, and when I'm not crafting, the X-Acto knives will go back in my caddy. Honestly, the scalpel, that'll probably stay in there though and have it be its final resting place. So let's go and build that. Okay, I've been wanting to craft this for a very long time, but I've been putting it off for this video. The main feature of this is to have our knives recessed below the surface of the foam so we don't catch our fingers on it. They're easily removable, and we don't have to keep the caps on them so that we can get to them and use them quickly while we're crafting. When we're not crafting, I always put the caps back on them, and I put them in my little jig that I showed earlier in the video for storage. I've had a couple of craft sessions now with it, and I'm absolutely in love, and I wish I had made it sooner. So give this a go, and I guarantee you're gonna love having it. Okay, so I hope you found some really cool little tips, tricks, things to maybe add to your crafting station that's going to make your time in the studio more enjoyable and maybe get you down there a little bit more often. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. Also, head on over to Patreon. It's there where you can join my private Facebook page, The Coven, or you can join me live at night right here on Discord while I'm crafting. Don't forget, TWC10 at checkout gets you 10% off your Firelight Fables Candle Company order. Amazing scents, great company for all your gaming and just around your house needs for candles. As well as TWC10 at checkout gets you amazing 10% off everything at Into the AM. Super comfortable clothes, hoodies, tank tops, you name it. I've got a bunch of all of those and I highly recommend them. All right, until next time, I'll see you around.